Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next episode from me, Avomance, in my farm tutorial series. We are in 1.13.1, the Update Aquatic. I'm doing it in Java, but this one works in, I'm pretty sure, all the platforms. Maybe in the comments below you can let me know if that is a load of rubbish, but I'm pretty confident it is right. Now, a little while ago, I did a trident farm. This was a farm specifically targeting drowns. This one is an under the sea farm. It basically targets anything that likes to get soggy. So you're going to get drowns, but you're not going to get tridents, but you are going to get drowns. You're going to get fish and all that kind of stuff as well. So anything that basically swims around under the water, you are going to get off the back of this farm. So let's crack on with it. It is dead simple. Now, the first thing you want to do is find yourself a suitable bit of sea. Now, in a perfect world, you don't want to have too much land close to it, but to be honest with you, it doesn't matter that much because we're not so much going for the drowns, and it's the drowns that don't like having land too much because other mobs could be hanging around on the land and they become an area that those mobs can spawn on, and therefore the mob cap gets taken up and it's all very horrible. But I'm just going to have a potion of night vision inside me and I can see the floor very nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a nice patch of floor. We don't need too big an area, but we want an area that is big enough. It doesn't have to be deep. That's not that important either. But I reckon this area will do. I'm just going to prep this area up so as we are flat. Basically, I'm going to take out this bit so it is all flat together. I'll be back when I've done that. So we've got a lovely big area cleared here. And now what I want you to do is come into one corner. So here, for example, and I want you to cut out 4 blocks, 2, 3 and 4, and then cut out in this direction 4 blocks. If you've obviously not got aqua doodah, it's a lot harder to move around. So 2, 3, 4, and cut that bit out like that, and then come across another 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then cut the next one out, 2, 3 and 4. Come along 4 blocks in this direction, 2, 3 and 4. Sounds like I'm doing dance moves. 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. There we go, and cut that out as well. So you've got a hole that's 4 by 4, a not hole that's 4 by 4, and a hole that is 4 by 4. Now what I recommend you do is at least 2 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Although you could do more if you choose. You could do 2 by 2 of these holes. You could do 3 by 3 of these holes. You could do 4 by 4 of these holes. But what's really important is to leave yourself a lovely gap. Don't open up the bit in the middle. You just want the 4. So again, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got the picture. So we've now got 4 nice holes that look exactly the same as that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to dig them down one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. And then what you want to check is if you've got gravel, I've got gravel here, you can see that. You want to make sure that the block next to this block, so the one underneath this gravel, for example, is not gravel. Can you see it's not gravel? So you just want to make sure that it's not gravel, and hopefully none of them will be. We're going to come back to that in a minute. So make all of those 4 deep. I'll be back when I've done that. Of course, what I meant was 2 deep, not 4 deep. Don't dig them 4 deep. That would be bad. Then we want to build a trim around all of them, just 1 high, that's all. So we've got a bit of a step into these pits. So it's 2 deep in the 4 by 4, and then the extra ring around it is 5 deep. And in that ring, get yourself a really nice visible colour of something. Now, it could be concrete, it could be wool, you could use blocks of redstone. They work really well. Something that you can see that's really visible but isn't a lit block. So don't use glowstone, don't use sea lanterns or anything like that. Just use something that's really quite visible. So look at that, that's proper visible. Do exactly the same on the other 3 in exactly the same way. Lose 1 row around the edge, block it off with something that is insanely visible. And I mean, yellow concrete, you can't get much more visible than yellow concrete. This is not done for aesthetic, it's done for visibility, so as you can see it from a bit of a distance. So there you go. So now do the other two. I'll be back when we've done that. So we've got 4 very obvious squares on the seabed. As I said earlier, you could make this 3 of these squares by 3 of these squares, 4 of these squares by 4 of these squares if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. But I'm just going to go for a 2 by 2 job here. Then come to any of the 4 sides and come along into the middle and pick the left or the right. Again, it doesn't matter which one you pick. It is really irrelevant. Take out that block. Now what's happened is the water has shot into that block, but that's all right because that is not a water source block. The reason it's not a water source block is because there is not a water source block on either side of it, so it can only be a non-water source block. That means if we shove a trapdoor in there, that means that that is no longer a water block at all, and I'll demonstrate that by taking out that block underneath it, coming down and looking up. Look, there's the water interface. We are no longer in the water. It is dead easy. So, and then what I want you to do is I want you to come down just one more. Get inside, get yourself a ladder, and get your ladder that one and that one. Okay, so that is the opposite side to the trapdoor. Now, if you wanted to, you could, of course, put the trapdoor going this way, but it makes no odds. Just do whichever you want to do. So right, the next bit you've got to be a little bit tricky about, because we're going to be digging down one more. Don't worry about putting a ladder there, it doesn't matter. But we are going to be digging in this direction. If the blocks above you are falling blocks, and that is gravel or sand, either of them, then you are going to get yourself a whole lot of headache, because the water is going to come pouring in on you as the gravel or the sand falls on your head. But so it might be worth digging a trench just around the outside of all your squares, just to check you've not got gravel too deep. 1 deep is fine because we're not going to take out the second block, but 2 deep is no good. And you want to come 2 along, so that keep that one above you. See, that's a stone block, so it's not going to fall on my head. So we're going to go 2 along. We know here, look, if I come up, that we're on the edge of this square. This square has got 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, because it goes around a 4 by 4 square. So by definition it is 2 more, isn't it, because you've got to have the outside edge. So it is a 6 by 6 square. So to be able to get around a 6 by 6 square, we cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So right directly above me here is the yellow block, and then go 1 more. I'm just going to get some more night vision potion in me. There we go. And that's going to take us to the edge of that block. So if I was to come up here to, of course the gravel fell on the head. If I was going to come up to, we will come out on the corner of that block. So you can see that there. I'm just going to fill that back in, because what we don't want to be doing is making ourselves headache full. So we're going to put that back in there. We'll fill in the gravel on the top in a minute. So we know we're on the edge of that corner. Then we're going to come along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that that's the yellow block up there, and then 7 takes us to the one on the corner of that square. That bridges across the gap of 2, because there's a 2 gap between the 2 squares. Then another 6. And then 1 more to get into the corner. And again, I'll demonstrate. I'm going to have gravel fall on my head. Told ya. But if I come up, he says, trying to get up and get the gravel out of the way, we're again on the corner. You can see that dead easy, right? So if we come down here and I shove that block there, that's going to stop the water from flooding me out. I'll replace the gravel in a minute. We come this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 more is 7. That's next to the next square, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 more takes us to the corner of that one. And then if we go along in this direction, 6, and then 1 more, that's 7, and then the next one is the next start, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get the idea, and then just go all the way around until you've dug yourself a trench that goes all the way around the entire outside. So the next thing I want you to do is to put in a temporary block. I'm just going to close that so I don't fall down it. Put in a temporary block on the level of the yellow. Now I'm going to use glass simply because I can then see through it. You do not have to use glass. You could use dirt, you could use whatever you do. Don't use a block that looks like it's part of the normal sea roof. So if you want to use dirt, that's fine. Don't maybe use just normal stone or something like that, because you could end up confusing yourself. Obviously, if these are temporary blocks, don't use gravel or sand, because they'll just fall, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. And then come back downside inside your hole, if you can get down. There you go. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cut out a single row all the way along here. So now we've got this second row all the way out. You'll know that underneath here, behind this upper block here, we've got the empty space underneath the glass. Look, can you see? We've got the empty space underneath that glass. So what we want to do is we want to take out the entire top layer. Leave the bottom. You just want to take out the top layer the whole way along. Be careful. I mean, if you take out one of the bottom layers, it doesn't matter, but you are just going to have to put that block back. So that's the only downside, right? So take out the whole of this upper layer here. And you'll find that there's a bit in the middle that you just can't get to. Now you know that where this ladder is, this block and this block are not underneath your yellow thing. So you are quite safe to come in all the way and get rid of those like that. So we are in the middle of this 4 squares. And what we want to do is we want to get ourselves some track. And this track is going to get laid out so as it is directly underneath these holes. So not very complicated, directly underneath the holes. And every now and again we want to make sure that we've got a powered rail. So the best way of doing that, let's get ourselves a nice long row of powered rails like that. We're going to get a turn there, and then we'll stick another load of powered rails along like that. Oops, steps. Of course, you've got to remember which way around you are going. So with this, you just need to work out very carefully what it is you're doing. So if you want to come along here, so get a rail there and a rail there, we can then join that up with the rail there, so it turns the corner. If we just have this piece not attaching to anything on the end, then it's not going to work at all. So, and then we can come along and do another bit there and there and there and there and there. I recommend you just come right the way through on the bottom. There and there and there. Do not go to the end. If you go to the end, you're going to have a world hurt, because what you want to do is you want to get, that's the ladder, that's not a rail. You want to get a rail and come along all the way like that. Then get yourself another rail, shove it there, and then you're going to come back with powered rail all the way like that. You don't have to use powered rail all the way. You could use just normal rail. Just make sure you got enough power to push it exactly where you want to go. We're going to power this in a minute from underneath. That is going to come like that, but do not join it up yet. So very simple. Then what we're going to do is we're going to shove a lever there. That will power that entire row. We're going to come along and we're going to put underneath here a row all the way along that brings us out, so we can see that we're there. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to put the lever underneath there like that. The next one, we're going to put a lever underneath there like that, that underneath there like that, and that underneath there like that. We're just going to come back up again, and all of those powered rails are indeed powered, which is what we're after. Okay, so now we've got to bridge the gap. So let's come across. This is going to come here, but we want this to be a powered rail. Otherwise, what will happen is the minecart will lose momentum and it won't get to where it is you want to go. Come underneath it again. Shove that like that. Shove a lever up. Come up again like that. So that's powered. Get this back as an unpowered rail. And then again, powered rail it up. And then you're just going to make a grid of all your rails, so as you've got rail underneath all of the bits you need to have a rail under. And as long as you've got a rail underneath these squares at all times, you are going to be fine. So I'll be back when I've done the grid. So we've got a grid set up here, and it goes along a bit like a model railway, coming all the way along here. You can see we've powered it underneath just using a lever, and we've left these bits blank. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring a little bit of light down here, because these are still spawnable areas and we don't want anything coming down. So just whack a load of torches in here. Oh, what, did I forget to fill a hole in? I forgot to fill a hole in. So get that hole filled, and then just put torches around. That will stop things that you don't want to spawn in, like that. And then you can also shove a torch down the middle, and given that I'm a little bit anal like that, shove it down the other side as well. So you've now got a lit up space. This space is not going to be a problem for spawning. The next thing you want to do is get yourself a magma block, and you want to fill these squares underneath here with magma. Now you're not going to be able to reach particularly well, so you need to be able to do this in a number of stages. You can't get to the furthest most point, but get a magma block all the way along in each of the bits. So there you go. So we have gone around, we've got ourselves the magma, we're nice and lit up, we've got no worries about mob spawning down here, and you'll notice we've just missed out one corner of the magma. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Then what we're going to do is underneath this ladder, we're going to take out 2 blocks, we're going to shove in a pair of stairs that way around, and then we're going to take out that, and we're going to take out that. Very, very simple. Then what we're going to do, just realised I've come along one too far with that, we are going to get ourselves a chest. We're going to pop a chest in there and there, then we're going to pop another one on top. Remember, shift click into the side of it to make it a double chest. And then behind here, we're going to shove a hopper there and there, there and there. Now you don't have to do a double hopper if you don't want to. You could just do a single hopper, and you could just have one chest, so only use one hopper, or just maybe one chest and a row of 2 hoppers. It's entirely up to you. It comes down to how much iron you want to use with your hoppers. Then come along, replace that, get yourself your rail there, get yourself your rail there, and then pressing shift, crouch click over the top of those 2 hoppers. What that's going to mean is a minecart is going to be able to do a complete loop all the way around the entire system, over there, up and down here, picking up all the stuff you need to pick up. Okay, but we've got to get the hopper minecart onto it and moving, and the way we're going to do that is fairly simple. We're going to shove a stone block there, we're going to take out those 2 there. Now we've got, obviously we need to be cautious of the fact that we've got water coming in there. That's because we had a bit of a gravel incident obviously above that one. And what we're going to do, so I just need to get that blocked off like that. There we go, that's much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and we're going to shove a minecart there and give it a bit of a push, and when it gets up that one, down that one, up that one, we're then going to time and put another one on and allow that to run along as well. Now we don't want them to catch each other up, and they shouldn't do. They should be relatively spaced out. We can get rid of that now. We can pop in the magma block there and the one that we missed out, and then we can replace the roof there. So we've got a system where we've got minecarts running along away from each other. They're never going to meet, they're never going to crash, they're far enough away to not be a problem as far as that is concerned. So then it's time to go back up again. That is perfect. So we're going to close off that door like that, and now what we're going to do is we're going to come to the far corner over here. Actually, you know what we're going to do first? We're going to patch up all of the holes that we've made out of gravel. So we've got one there, we've got one there, we've got any over here, we've got one there, and I think that might be it. Yes, it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to remove these bits of glass. Now you shouldn't but occasionally it could glitch and give you a source block, and if you get a source block it's going to suck this onto you. Now the reason you don't get a source block is for exactly the same reason we didn't get a source block over by the trap door here, and that's because water pours in and creates a non-source block each time you take out a block, each time you take out this temporary block. So what we're now going to do is we're going to take out all of these ones as well. There we go. So we've got effectively what is 4 magma pits, but they're not working because the water blocks above them are not source blocks. What we need to do is we need to make the water blocks above them source blocks, and we do that dead simply by doing a row of buckets across that way and a row of buckets across that way. Now when you are in survival, you are surrounded here by water source blocks. Pick one, bosh it in, pick one, bosh it in. It should be easy. You should only ever need to come with one bucket. So I'm just going to come along. I'm going to make sure you've got that box highlighted there, there and there, and then I'm going to do one there, there and there. Now those water source blocks will run all the way across and make sure that every block above those magma blocks are now water source blocks, and you can see the bubbles are running up. What we're now going to do is the same on all 3 of the other sides, and that is done. So now we've got our trap, and those traps and anything that swims past and into these bubbles will be sucked down onto these magma blocks. And there we've got all 4 of them starting to suck the bubbles downwards from the surface all the way to the floor. And what we're going to do now is we are just going to put finally one last row of these really vivid yellow blocks all the way around the edge, and that means that there is a 2 high drop from inside the magma to the safety of the not magma sucking bubble blocky bits, and that is going to make it really, really hard for anything to try and escape. So it might be that you're trying to trap some drowned in here because you don't want them going anywhere near you. Perhaps this is a trap to avoid drowns getting anywhere near you, or maybe you're wanting to collect some rotten flesh or something like that. Oh, see, some fish got sucked down. They're just playing around on the edge there. They got sucked down into the bubbles, and that poor fish is no more. And you'll find that fish are quite good for this trap. They're the thing that you're going to trap the most, and every now and again you get a fish drops bone meal, so you could argue that this is a bone meal farm. So let's just finish this off and we'll get it done, and we'll see what we've managed to catch in it after just a few minutes of it working. So we're back underneath, and this has been running for about probably a little over 20 minutes, and I wouldn't expect to have loads of stuff in here, but I know some stuff did get deaded, didn't it? So let's open up the bottom chest, because there's not going to be anything in the top chest. Let's open up the bottom chest and we'll find, right, okay, now because of the biome that I'm in, there aren't any tropical fish around here. It is the wrong type of water, but what we have managed to get is some salmon and some cod, a little bit of bone meal, which is great, and some rotten flesh. So what that tells me is that we've had a few shoals of fish swim over, and we've also had some horrible wet zombie things come along as well. The drowned, we've managed to catch a few of them. We've not got any drowned drops because we didn't kill the drowns ourselves. Remember, this is not a trident farm, but it does mean we can gather some of the stuff. So that is that. It's a pretty simple farm, and it's actually quite nice if you were to set it up around your base where you're going to be quite a lot, and as a result it just runs and runs and runs, and things are going to be spawning just because you're doing other stuff nearby, not because you're sat under here waiting for stuff to spawn in. That's not necessarily good use of your time. But what you could be doing is just getting on with your building on your area, and it just happens to be next to the sea, and you've got one of these under the sea, and it's just going to collect stuff over time, and it could be that you end up with a fair bit of bone meal and fish, which is always good. If you have enjoyed the video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you've enjoyed it, and I'll keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.